When we first see Elizabeth sparkle in the substance, she's bathed in the bright, hollow glow of a TV set. It's a light that doesn't just illuminate her. It flattens her, smooths her out until she's almost part of the scenery. And even after she leaves that set, that artificial glow follows her. She walks through corridors that look too pristine to feel real, past hallways that stretch on forever. Even her apartment seems scrubbed of any sign of real life. There are no scuffs, no warmth, no trace of human imperfection. It's like she's trapped in a world designed purely to be looked at. And that's exactly the point. The substance isn't interested in giving us a world that feels authentic in the way a documentary does. It wants to show us what it feels like to be a woman whose worth has been boiled down to how perfectly she performs an idea of beauty. This is where the film's horror seeps in. Elizabeth isn't just trying to keep up appearances. She's trying to survive in a world that punishes any sign she's aging or slipping out of its narrow standards. When she starts using the substance, it feels almost logical, like the next step in a system that's already convinced her she'll never be enough as she is. And as her body begins to transform, there's no hiding the violence of that pursuit. Her skin splits and peels. Her sense of self unravels. What's powerful here is how the film refuses to treat this as some shocking twist. It's presented as the natural consequence of a culture that tells you your only value is how consumable you can become. It's easy to watch a story like this and think it's a cautionary tale about vanity. But that's missing the deeper truth. This is about the damage that comes from living inside a performance you never asked for. A performance that demands you erase anything human, anything real. The sets themselves carry that idea. The polished tiles, the airbrushed lighting, the spaces that look too big and too empty. All of it builds a world that feels like it's been scrubbed clean of authenticity. And when you step into a place like that, you're reminded that there's no room for flaws. No space for age or softness or anything that can't be molded into a sellable image. It's this hollow perfection that makes the film so unsettling. Even before Elizabeth's body starts to betray her, the world around her already feels inhuman. It's a place where every surface is smoothed over and every expression is a performance. And I think that's why the film feels so relevant right now. Because we're surrounded by spaces that look a lot like this. Feeds and timelines and endless streams of curated images that erase the messy reality of being alive. We see faces and bodies edited until they don't look like anyone you'd actually meet in the real world. And we call it normal. So when Elizabeth tries to create a perfect version of herself, it doesn't feel like science fiction. It feels like an extension of the same pressure so many people feel every time they pick up their phone. That quiet dread that if you can't make yourself flawless, you'll disappear. The substance becomes even more unsettling when Elizabeth's transformation isn't something she can fully control. When she uses the substance, she doesn't just create a younger version of herself. She creates someone with her own mind, her own impulses, her own hunger for life. Margaret Qualley's character isn't a passive clone. She's a version of Elizabeth who's been unshackled from shame. She's confident, reckless, almost joyful in her power. And that freedom, that refusal to be embarrassed or grateful, is the most threatening thing of all. Because as much as Elizabeth wants to be younger, she doesn't want to be her. She wants youth without the mess, desire without vulnerability, power without consequence. But that's not how it works. You can't separate the vitality from the chaos. And so the film becomes this tense standoff between two women who are, in a way, the same person, and also completely alien to each other. You see the horror in Elizabeth's eyes when she realizes she can't put this younger self back in the bottle. She's created something she can't own. The more you watch them together, the more you see how much they need and despise each other. The younger version becomes a living reminder of everything Elizabeth thinks she lost and everything she never dared to be. This is where the horror gets personal, because it's not just about beauty standards in the abstract. It's about what happens when you finally meet the version of yourself you thought you wanted to be, and she's nothing like you imagined. And it's about how that person, your own reflection made flesh, can end up feeling like your greatest enemy. What makes the substance stick with you isn't just the gore or the body horror. It's that it understands how beauty, when it's commodified, becomes something predatory, something that feeds on you, piece by piece, until there's nothing left but the performance. In a way, the film is holding up a mirror. It's saying, look at this world. Look how sterile it is. Look how much it demands. And maybe it's asking us if we really want to keep living in a place that needs us to peel ourselves apart just to be seen. Because underneath all the polish, all the carefully arranged surfaces, there's something much uglier, an emptiness that can never be satisfied. And when you spend your life trying to mold yourself into a shape that pleases everyone else, you end up hollow too. The substance doesn't offer a neat answer. It doesn't pretend there's an easy way to step out of this cycle. But by showing us a world so relentlessly artificial, it dares us to imagine something more honest. A reality that isn't so terrified of imperfections. A place where you don't have to dissolve yourself just to belong. Maybe the first step is recognizing that this airbrushed world, the world that feels so pristine and seductive, isn't real. And it never was.